In this video we're going to look at Flowol as part of our Flowol and cryptology unit. So Flowol is a bit of software we should be using that works on flowcharts. But before we get on with that, we need to look at our knowledge recall, and the 4 questions that you need to answer are: what does a diamond shape mean in a flowchart? So you learnt that last lesson, you should be able to remember that, recall that information. What is a diamond shape? What does it do? What is the technical term for the start or stop symbol in a flowchart? So again, we did that last week. In Excel spreadsheet, what is a sheet? So what is a sheet in Excel? And thinking back to the start of the year, give one example of an input device. We learned about input device. It's also useful in today's lesson. So give an example of an input device. So you can pause the video while you answer those questions. These are the answers you should have. So hopefully you know that a diamond shape is a decision or question. A terminator is a start or stop symbol in a flowchart. A sheet is a single page in a spreadsheet. And input devices are things like keyboards, mouse, scanners or microphones. Things that capture information and put it into a computer. So it's input. Right, moving on with Flowol. So we're going to create an algorithm for a given task today in Flowol, using Flowol, and possibly move on to subroutines. So I'll show you how to use Flowol today, show you how to create something called mimics and how to draw a flowchart in there to get your mimics to work. Before we move on with that, we're going to think about traffic lights and the sequence of traffic lights, what order the lights turn on and off. So in your e-portfolios, you will have a set of traffic lights like this, and you can drag the colour dots onto each traffic light where they need to be. Think about the order of the colours. What colour goes first? We start with a red light. Then what do you see? There's a little clue here. We start with a red light, and then the next light here will be red and amber. So see if you can work out exactly how these traffic lights work, all the way from stop all the way back to stop. You need to use all the dots that you have available to you. So you can pause the video while you complete that. Hopefully you've got this as your answer. So we've got the red light, red and amber, and then we get the green go light. Then we go one single amber, warning us to stop if it's safe to do so, and then I'll stop. So that is the answers you should have. So we're going to start with a simple zebra crossing. So with the zebra crossing, just the lights turn on and off. They're flashing on and off. They switch on, there's a delay, there's a wait, and then they switch off. And that just gets repeated constantly. So you're going to put the shapes that you have available in your e-portfolio in order to show how this algorithm works. The shapes that you have are these ones here, and you'll be able to just move them about to create a flow diagram showing how the zebra crossing works. So again, you can pause the video while you complete that task. Hopefully you've got something along these lines. You've got a start, you've turned output 1 on, which is a light. You've got a wait here, which is a delay half a second, then turn output 1 off, and then delay half a second, and the flow goes back to the start, or back to the first instruction here. So it repeats, it iterates around. It's repeating over and over again. So that's what you should have, something along those lines. Let's move on then and look at some of the software we're going to use today. So we're going to use Flowol, and you can open a mimic. I'll show you what a mimic is in a second, that you can actually work on. So start with open up Flowol from your computer. You've got a series of symbols in Flowol that you can use, and these are in your e-portfolio, so you need to match the image to its purpose. So this is what you've got. You've got these shapes here, and one of the answers here you need to rearrange is what this one means. So I'll give you a little clue on this one. This is the start stop button to run off. Sorry. It's not. It's use the start symbol at the beginning of the flowchart program. Use the stop symbol at the end of the subroutine. So this shape here matches with this one here. So you need to match the image to its purpose in your ePortfolio. Again, you can pause the video while you complete those. So hopefully these are the answers you've got. You can see what each one does. A little clue here, if we think back to our knowledge organizer, the diamond shape here is a decision. Our flow lines, the line tool to connect parts of the flowchart together. We've got a text tool, erase tool, outputs, process, and start stop. We've got an edit tool, which is the hand, and when we run our mimics later on in the lesson, we're going to be using the start and stop button to run our mimics and see what's happened. So you need to get familiar with these different tools in Flowol. Okay, we're going to open up Flowol. I'm going to create a flow chart. So I'm just going to demonstrate that to you. So opening up Flowol. Flowol will run very slowly on my computer while my video is recording. So I might just need to be a little bit patient with that. And if we go to File, New, you might automatically get the next page that comes up, the choice in a second when you open up Flowol. We're going to use a mimic, this one here, a picture of the lighthouse. We're going to click that, and then we're going to choose a mimic. And the mimic that I'm going to want you to use is the zebra crossing. So you need to find the zebra crossing, click that, the little picture of the zebra crossing, and click OK. And what this does is open up Flowol, where you can create your flow diagram and a picture of the zebra crossing that we're going to use. Now you can get familiar with this zebra crossing. We get an understanding here. You can actually click on the picture and switch the lights on. By clicking on the items on here, I've just clicked on the light and it switches them off. So when you click on the picture, you do have choices here where you can switch items on and off. I'm just going to turn the lights off for a second and leave them off. And what you're going to do is create the flow chart for these lights. So we need to think about dragging in a start and stop. And when we click that, we can tell that it's going to be a start. So I've clicked start, and that will change that bit to the start. The next thing I'm going to do on here is I'm going to turn these lights on, which is an output. So I can drag my output symbol in, and I can choose the outputs that are available. So it's a light, so I'm going to switch the light on. So I can click the on and click OK. Now at the moment there's no connection from my start to my turn light on. So what I'm going to do is click the line. I can click start. I can then click where I want my line to connect to. And that draws the connector, the flow diagram, the flow arrow in place. So far we've got start, then turn light on. Now what I'd like to do is leave this light on for half a second. So I'm going to drag in a delay. And I'm going to now put in how long I want this to delay for. So I want it to be 0.5. So a bit of mathematics in here. 0.5 is half. So that's half a second. OK. And again, I can connect my turn light on to my delay half a second. After my light has been on for half a second, the next thing I want to do is switch the light off. So again, I go to my output, I drag this back in, and remember my flow chart is going from top to bottom, and this time the light I'm going to switch off and click OK. Again, I can connect my items together from the delay to the turn light off. And the next thing I need to do is another delay in here. So I'm just going to drag this delay in here. I want the light now to be off for 0.5 seconds and click OK. So it's now off for 5 seconds. Again, I need to connect my parts of the flow diagram together, otherwise it would not flow. So after it's delayed for 0.5 seconds, I'm going to loop this back round. I'm going to iterate it. I'm going to repeat it. So from the 0.5, and I'm going back to turning the light on. So I click here and the flow diagram will put the arrow in, just above the symbol. So you need to click on the symbol and it'll put it in just above. So we can see here that it's always continuously looping round. And now when I press play down the bottom, what it does, it goes through here, it reads the first instruction, it turns the lights on, it waits half a second, and then it turns the lights off. Now your computer will run this quicker than mine. Mine seems to be running this very slowly because I'm recording the video at the same time. But yours will switch on for half a second and then turn off for half a second and keep repeating that and looping that through. So I'm just going to stop this one running and just move on with the PowerPoint, thinking about what we need to do next. So we've got to the point where we've created our zebra crossing. You can take a screenshot of what you've completed and put that into your e-portfolio. What you should have is your flowchart that looks like this, where you've turned your output on, waited, off, wait, switch it back on again. So hopefully you've got a working zebra crossing. We're now going to move on and create the next flowchart, and we're looking at the bridge lights. So if you can open up the Mimic for bridge lights, and then we can work our way through how to control those lights. So let's open up Flowol again. File new. Obviously you will save your Mimic, your zebra crossing, so you can have that saved and come back to it when you need to. So I'm opening up a new one. This time I'm using the Mimic and I'm going to the bridge lights. So click bridge lights and OK. And what you have here, you can actually make this picture bigger so you can see what's going on if you want to. But you've got a set of traffic lights on one side of the bridge and another set of traffic lights on the other side of the bridge. And you can switch the lights on or off. You can click on them. You can see which lights are which. So the lights with 2 on them on the other side of the bridge, we're only going to concentrate on the lights with 1 on them. So this side of the bridge here. So the green light, both will switch on at the same time. And what I'd like you to do, if I go back to the PowerPoint, what I'm looking for you to do is to write the sequence of instructions, the flow diagram, to turn the red light on. Then you're going to have the red and amber lights. So if we think back to the starter at today's lesson, the order of traffic lights, so the red and amber, then both of those lights go off and the green light turns on. Then there's the wait again, and then the amber, and then red. So you're going to build up the set of traffic lights for this side of the bridge by creating a flowchart, test it out and see how you get on with that. So that's the plan. What you've got then is the other side of the traffic lights that you could work on if you've completed this side of the traffic lights. So what will happen on the opposite side at the same time. So you can try and explain that in your e-portfolio, show a copy of the work that you've completed. But hopefully you've got an understanding of the flowcharts and how to use Flowol. Be really good if you can update your e-portfolio. Well done.